Thank you for choosing to listen to Streetcasts. In this series, I want to explore and explain individual tools, techniques, or approaches that I use for my street photography. I hope you take the time to comment if you have any thoughts, and if you'd like to hear more, please don't forget to subscribe. Bokeh, softened backgrounds, and flash can be great with portraits, flowers, and other subject-oriented imagery. For street photography, however, the background is often an essential part of the image, by providing the context for the story. Just like photojournalism, street photography also needs a context for a story, and more often than not, any aesthetic of the image is a characteristic of the background rather than the subject alone. Fast lenses, often with a hefty price tag offering a nice soft out of focus, are therefore not often suitable for street photography. Older, cheaper, and less fast glass is going to have the functional characteristics and ability to render most street photography images just as well as the expensive glass. Indeed, not only the price, but often the weight of the faster lens is actually a downside. By setting the aperture at f5.6 or higher if the light allows, we're increasing the whole story approach to an image, something that makes sense for street. One can afford to have old manual lenses, as they do not cost much today, and this despite the fact that the older lenses are often calibrated, engineering masterpieces, or lenses with character. By character, of course, we mean distortion, aberration, and other normally undesirable properties of the glass. Enough about old glass, because the principle holds true for new glass too. Many of the kit lenses are similarly not that fast. Whilst I've not had a good experience with my Nikon kit lens, those from Fuji are both affordable and of great quality. I was lucky to have a play with my father's setup, and the quality is good. Kit lenses from the Micro Four Thirds companies are also good, certainly at the typical apertures that would normally be used for traditional street. So whilst many of the manufacturers today are driving the idea that fast is best, for us this is questionable. Don't misunderstand, I accept that bokeh is aesthetically pleasing for some photography genres. Street photography is a low-key version of photojournalism, hopefully with an aesthetic element to enhance the storytelling. But unlike portraits, our aesthetic is normally the shadows, textures, the shape of the image as a whole. Isolating the subject from the background is not normally what street is about, but there are exceptions. I also find images using flash to isolate the subject equally difficult to reconcile with the genre street. This too is likely to throw the background and isolate the subject. Portraits of people that happen to be on the street is, in my view, not street photography. If the actual background of the street is so unimportant, why do we call it street photography? Images could just as easily be done in a studio with a blur in the background. I have a view that is very much driven by the tradition of street photography as a form of candid journalism, and journalism needs context. The genre has a history of backgrounds, giving context and thus making a story. Henri Cartier-Bresson, to the best of my knowledge, never had extreme bokeh in his shots. It was inappropriate with his work, just as it was inappropriate for his street photography. Imagine a silhouette of a man jumping without the water, planks, or industrial area. Imagine a cyclist moving so fast the shutter speed makes a blur, without the staircase or the road, and so on. Opening the lens for light can be necessary, but including the context is essential. So we're forced to compromise by balancing these two parts. In a way, our genre is cheaper than most, as the faster, more expensive glass is not what we need. But like landscape photography, the landscape of the street is an important part of most of our genre. Cameras are tools, and like most good tools, they're valuable for a range of tasks. Depending on your version of street, current fads and fashions may not be suitable. For traditional street, we certainly need to be careful not to be drawn into upgrading and exchanging kit when the features are not actually going to help us.